getting that shaking, instability, and really tense. I mean, they do have the power. Although sometimes it's quite hard to see that in action, but they do have. Hello everybody. So let's look what happens within narcissists when they are overpowered by their emotions. There is the complex post-traumatic stress disorder, fear, anxiety, stress. There is that deeply rooted shame, embarrassment, fear, stress, unworthiness, self-blame, guilt, worry, and so forth. They have built a mechanism already at childhood. So in childhood they would escape in imaginary world. This was very comforting for them. They couldn't get that emotional feedback. So this is where they could play around safely, because they couldn't be safe in the external worlds within environment they were. And of course, at the adulthood, there has been built already in place like grandiose defense mechanisms. Like it is protecting the false self. So the liver is really all the time at the state of hypervigilance, like hyperactive state. So there's all the time, probably I would assume, slight stress. And this of course gives that possibility to explode whatever directions. So what do we look first? I suppose I will actually draw the liver here. So this is kind of in a slightly hypervigilant state, like almost like bouncing, ready to go, vroom, 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 and whatever touches it which is not in line with the false self which they have built, then there will be like something exploding some directions. It might be just minor, just, you know, poking that person down, like humiliating that person publicly, just words. Could be covered within joke or whatever it may be. But if it's like a bigger issue, then of course it will be like different type of a model, which we will be looking now. Oh, let's give this narcissist heart 2. I mean, they do have the heart. Although sometimes it's quite hard to see that in action, but they do have, and they do have that spark there, and it is really I should not be laughing. It is quite extremely terrible what happened to them. So what happens with the fear? So the energetic movement of the fear is sinking down. But there is also something else happening within fear. And if we look first the insecurity, which is the, I suppose, the milder or mildest version, there is slight shaking on surface of the bones. And ligaments, of course, they are also similar, thicker material. And of course this shaking is in first to sinking down to the legs and taking that strong root stability away, so there ain't no safety, stability within them. And then of course insecurity will spread all over the body. And if we are talking about the stronger kind of emotional models, we are really first talking about that that small vibration just on top of the bones will start to grow to bigger shaking. And from this state there might be also like bodies cooling a little bit and so forth. Of course there are various other stuff taking place too, but this is You know, we have to kind of start somewhere, and you probably have felt this and understand this. So the heart chi is kind of sinking, kidney chi is sinking, everything is sinking down. There is that instability within the fear. And then when we hit to complex post-traumatic stress disorder, we are really talking about stronger, way stronger shaking, like really trembling in the spine. Like it really is extremely destabilizing those who have felt it. And once again, if this takes place, it's sinking first down, but it's also spreading across the whole body to the neck. Neck is quite strong, and jawline. But to the hands, and of course it will be spreading to the soft tissues too. So something like this. This is very uncomfortable. Those who have not felt, it is quite strong. It really is. Like if you have been really cold sometimes, and it really starts to shake up your spine and goes to the neck and starts to tighten everything, and then you feel cold. It's kind of about that, but because it comes from with the fear, like strong fear and living through possibly the traumas and stuff, at least at some aspect of your consciousness is connected to those. It can be quite well, strong. Let's just leave it there. So of course something very similar is happened because of the shame, but it's more, you could say, on consciousness level. I cannot unfortunately give you the energetics behind the shame, but it is really touching all the 5 elements. So it is kind of a moving that instability, disharmony between all the 5 elements. So the whole body is a chaos and mess already at this state. And of course, at the early age, narcissists would have escaped into the imaginary world, and this would have bring them comfort within their hearts. And this model is still actually in place. Why they choose the falsehood instead of the truth. It has been always comforting for them. That's how they survived within the first years and the tricky childhood, you know. So what does anger does? I mean, that is the emotion of the liver. So the foundational, absolute basics for the energetics of the liver is that it shoots up, but all directions. And it really comes from the liver, like that is that hypervigilant state in narcissist, like all the time pulsing, like looking like a radar if there is some sort of threat. And I suppose you could see that this could be and probably have or has at least some of the layers from the post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, the hypervigilance, that is real. I mean, when you are living through the trauma, not at the initial shock and the weeks and months after that, you probably don't have that much, but when you start to understand what really happened to you, and there starts to be that healing process, you start to construct everything that was going on and stuff, and you really start to understand, you know, the severity of the trauma and so forth. Then when this takes place, or the post-traumatic, if it's on adulthood and if it's not like that bad and that complex, yeah, then when you have kind of when something has triggered this type of process going on within you, so the next few days you are in hypervigilant mode and you're quite flinchy in a way, kind of even it doesn't make sense, but you are still almost like looking threats from outside. But it is the state of the liver, and I suppose that is what they have at the childhood, you know, a lot, and it kind of gets to this state, but it is molded to the something else because of the escape to the imaginary world, and you know, building that grandiose false self, like something that they are not, something that they would want to be but cannot live that way because it is not real. They never dealt their trauma and so forth. But yes, back to the anger, my humble apologies. I tend to have this problem that I kind of get lost and will explain something else which I wasn't tended to explain in this moment. So the liver shooting up and all directions, basically, that's the foundation. But when we look the anger, what does anger does? It speeds up whatever emotional process was placed already in body. So it will give this to this model that strong movement and effects and making it more stronger, you could say. But the anger also contracts the tendons, you know. The fear is kind of almost like there is that coldness, so there is contraction because of the coldness into the tissues, into the tendons and so forth. But what the liver does, it's kind of contracting the tendons and at the same time trying to move chi much stronger. So it gives kind of a quite erratic movements and shaking. But when you have this condition, already extreme strong fear taking place, like your body is living through the traumas, most traumatic events and stuff, huge amount of shame, which you are probably have to forced to face the real version of you, you know, instead of the false self, you know. So of course this is enraging to them. I mean, this really starts like, it makes the whole like more erratic, like everything is like destabilizing. When the fear is kind of like that constant shaking and stuff, there's still something, you know, balancing probably compared to something when everything is like fully erratic and just can't handle, like, and the movements might be whichever directions, you know. I can't quite put this in correct words because I have separately the understanding from different puzzles, but I don't have this model because I don't have the narcissistic personality style. But you know, if you do have the narcissistic Neigong teacher and you trigger this response in them, they will put the energetics upon you from the rage and anger they feel. So I understand the post-traumatic stress disorder, how destabilizing that is. But within my work, I have come to understand the anger and rage, very extreme, transmitted into the aura, where it starts to actually affect to your body. It's just how narcissist works. Like, they want you to suffer as they are suffering. But of course, I don't have the shame. Not their same, not from same reasons. I don't have that component. I don't know the hell they go through that level. But it is quite hellish, you could say. Or it actually is extremely, how can you say, if you are a practitioner and patience, long suffering are one of the finest and most precious emotional mental qualities that you want to attain at a little bit further stages. So they do give perfect chance for you to practice that, because you do need patience with these people and with these transmissions and stuff they put upon you. So they will actually speed up also in that way. Perhaps not speed up, but they will help you to build qualities that you could not build without extreme level of stresses pressed upon you time again and again and again and again. So you kind of have to take everything as a way to take your process as far as possible. So anyway, I got my humble apologies. I got lost again to the branch that I should have not. Where did we kind of get? So yes, there is post-traumatic stress disorder, huge amount of shame, like really messing up their mind, emotional, and their version, their false sense, their real version of themselves, which is the shameful core, post-traumatic stress disorder, all sort of problems, versus their alternative ego, grandiose version of themselves. Like they are faced the reality of the falsehood of them, and the reality of who, what their core really is, who they really are. I mean, with that sort of model, incapable of imbalancing their emotions, extremely strong, several complex. One of these is already complex. I mean, I only touch upon the fear. There is anxiety and stress at the same time. With the same, it's very, very complex. Like, we cannot understand what they are going through. We can get some understanding, and I hope this will bring you some understanding what they are going through and the reactions and so forth. Yeah, it is extremely difficult condition. My humble apologies, this became way longer video than I thought. This was supposed to be just a quick run through, but hopefully it will be something beneficial to understand narcissistic personal style. Thank you.